I'm going to ask you that again, because a week has gone by, right? And you're now illuminated, yes? Okay, but it doesn't seem to bother anybody, does it? Why doesn't it bother you? You're a sister, yes?
Yes,
Yes.
because my understanding is broadening. My
Yes.
understanding is going a little bit deeper than what I was taught. And I have been exposed to different areas of thought, and this makes more sense than what I was taught.
Okay, thank you. You passed. Okay, so, only spiritual beings can keep the Ten Commandments. So my first teacher at the time, and we were talking about the commandments, and she said, you can't. But if you wish to be a real Christian, you will find the Spirit in yourself, and that will allow you to keep those commandments. And I said, so what are you saying? She's saying, well, those commandments are not for everybody unless you wish to work on yourself. A true Christian, a true Jew, a true Mohammedan can keep the commandments because they know how to do it. Which means it isn't just doing it, it is finding the middle in yourself that allows you to have a visitation from Spirit. It's only in the middle.
It's refraining.
Are you teaching me or am I teaching you?
No, it's
What are you refraining from, though? That's true, it is refraining, but what are you refraining from?
Refraining from imposing myself on somebody else.
Okay.
And closing that middle.
Yes. Okay, which is another way of saying, when I refrain, I don't allow my lower nature, my mechanical, automatic side to myself, run my life. It's going to do it if you don't refrain. It's going to take over. That's the key. A refraining is refraining from what I don't need. I don't need that. Because if I don't, I'm very imprudent. So spirituality from an Eastern perspective is all about attraction. So what am I attracting? If I'm a certain way, I can attract something. I think we all feel that's true. But in this case, I'm really saying that spirituality is attracting spirit. Meister Eckhart, one of my favorite authors, or writers, I should say, tells us, and he uses the word God because he had no other choice. At that time, the church really gave him a hard time, okay? He said, God has no choice but to meet us when we are in harmony with ourselves. Now that's a very interesting thing. God has no choice but to visit me through God's Spirit if I am in harmony. If I'm not in harmony, I am not going to be visited. So the idea is, instead of trying to be good or trying to be bad, maybe I need to look at myself and say, am I in harmony? If I always let my mechanical, automatic reaction take place without coming back to myself, I'm not going to be in harmony. I want my life to change. I don't want my life to be the way it is. And yet, I keep allowing that to run my life. So the idea of attracting spirit is something that will take place automatically. Now, Chinese medicine takes it even further, okay? And they say that in your heart you have a little spirit, which is a reflection of the great one. And it's in your heart. And because of that, that will visit, that greater one will visit the lesser one, which is the one. I'm saying in terms of separation, but it is one like that. Yeah.
Going back to the Ten Commandments. No, it's making me think.
Oh, okay.
That has a lot to do with affirmation. Affirming, right, wrong, in the middle.
I don't know, I'm not sure what you mean by that though.
Well, if we're going to live by the commandments, we're affirming a way of life. Aren't we?
Okay, I should have made something clear. From an Eastern perspective, if you live a spiritual life, you automatically adhere to the Ten Commandments, as opposed to trying to live up to the Ten Commandments. One begins here, and the other begins out there. You have to be a spiritual person, and then you will automatically keep those commandments. That's very different than trying to say, I got to keep those commandments. You can't do it that way. It doesn't work. A spiritual person keeps the commandments.
I have not committed adultery.
Okay, no, she brought this up, so we're going to stay with this. This is a good, I would hope so. Okay. All right, so we think adultery, what, no, let me do it this way. Why don't you shut up, William? What does adultery mean to you? Silence.
Breaking a vow.
Breaking the vow. Okay. How? Oh, here we go. Okay, nobody wants to talk about
By
it?
disrespecting your partner.
Really? I wasn't taught that in Catholic school.
Having sexual relations.
What
But
was
having
that?
sexual relations with a person that's not your partner, your
A
wife.
little louder. They need to know this. They probably don't. Okay.
Well, in basic form, by having sexual relations with someone who's not your spouse.
Okay, so that's what I was taught. That's adultery. I have sexual relations with somebody else's wife. Okay? All right, so that's one way of looking at it. But there's another way of looking at it. You commit adultery when you make what is sacred profane.
Disrespect.
You can use the word disrespect. Can't you use the word profane? So the idea is, okay, I adulterate something. I weaken it. I bring impurities in it. It's not true, okay? It isn't right or wrong, okay? You want the truth. That's the most important thing in the world. I remember one of the American Indians when I was there as a young man telling me the most important thing was the truth, regardless of how painful it is. But it may not be always painful. So what is your truth? Your truth is that you are a spiritual being. You have a reflection of that spirit in your heart. That's your truth. And if you don't live by that, it's not true. It's a lie. Okay. The spirit becomes a powerful force, and you become a powerful force that attracts that when you are in the middle, between yes and no. I guess when Meister Eckhart was saying God has no choice but to visit you when you are in the middle, he was saying that that's where divinity is. That's where eternity is, and that's where the present moment is. It is the same place. It's the middle.
Is it safe to say that we are only in the middle in certain instances? Most of us anyways.
What instance would you think of that would push you into the middle like that?
Well, as the exercise that you gave us.
Yes, okay. Yes. Now you practiced that, you said last week.
Yes.
Okay. Did you practice it again?
Yes.
Okay. Anything different, or did you experience the same thing?
I experienced the same thing.
Okay, and how would you rate that? This is a terrible word to use, rate it.
On a scale from 1 to 10?
1 to 10, yeah, I hate to doing that, but I have to, I don't know how to say it. How do
I
you
would
feel?
say it was a 9.
A what?
A 9.
A 9, wow, okay. So obviously something changed in you, yes?
Yes.
Number one, could you say that you were not always the way you are? That you were very different in that moment?
Yes.
Okay. So that's what we're talking about. Difference, okay, from the normal life I lead. I can only find that in the middle. But it's up to me to say, I'm going to refrain. And you got to be quick to catch yourself, because it happens so fast. You tell somebody off, or you say something, and you realize, oh, damn, I did it again. Okay? So what does practice mean? Well, I was taught that if I'm going to practice something, I'm going to get better at it. Okay, I'm going to practice the piano, I'm going to get better at it. I practice playing football, so I get better at it. Well, that's not the Eastern view. You can throw that out the window. You practice because you want to get rid of something. You are practicing to get rid of your usual way. Because when you get rid of your usual way of doing things, what remains is who you really are. So we're back to riddance. You practice to get rid of something, not to get something.
So there's something